Cover photo will have a list of things you need. So, you need some combs and brushes to tease with. So I'll be brushing out a different wig. So, a couple combs, brushes, rat tail comb. You may want clips so you can work in sections. I guess I'll grab some of those. You're obviously going to need a mannequin head and a stand, whatever size you want. I usually use a little bit of a bigger head so it stretches a little more, or stretches the cap, fills the cap out a little bit more. You need some kind of dry shampoo or root lifting spray, some texturizing spray, maybe even. Got to be glued. But I'm not doing all that because this is a human hair blend. Some kind of shaping spray or finishing spray, depending on what you're doing. And again, I'm just doing a 101. So I may do some things a little unorthodox, but that's okay. That's the drag aspect of things sliding out. So I have a wig. This is a new wig, fresh out the pack. We're basically going to tease this out some. So, first things first. This fits on here. This fits on the mannequin nicely, but we want to secure this wig. So, just going to stick some pins in. Kind of doing them a little bit further out from where we're working. You can do them close in if you want, depending on what you're doing or what you're doing. This just helps secure the wig. If you don't have enough, the wig will lift and you'll tear where you are locked in at. If you put, the more you put, help distribute tension, help you keep it locked in, blah, blah, blah. So, okay. I also, because you have a nape of the neck, I also like to pull, let me get some clips. Stick clips the nape. I also like to pull down, and this is common too, when you're, or I would hope it's common, when you're creating a cosplay wig or any wig, but I have to pull this down a little bit for the nape, the back of the hairline. We're going to secure that too. Okay, so boom. So, first things first, I like to, for teasing, you have no idea where you're starting, what you're doing. You don't want to fight with the hair when you're teasing, but I like to section out. I like to create a section in the front, and I guess around the perimeter of the hair that I don't tease, and I use that to clean up my work. You're just going to do this all the way around. The wig. Okay. So you're going to take this section and you're going to pull it out of the way. Don't put your comb in your mouth. Alright. And what other purple? Pen, we section out. Probably want to go. Not too worried about here. So this bottom track layer, this bottom 2 or 3 layers of tracks, we're not going to focus on teasing too much. We're going to pull that out of the way. Yeah, so this is a side section here. You want to pull that over, and you want to do that on both sides. So whether you pull these to one side or however you do it, trying to get that hair out of the way as well. So I just have this all pulled to one section on the side and panned out of the way. Okay. If you're asking questions, I can't see the screen right now, so you have to give me a second. Hello, hi. Okay, so you kind of see here. So I don't want to start in the top. I'm not going to start in the top with my teasing. I'm going to start underneath. You, depending on how full or what kind of drama you're creating, is where you want to choose your placement in teasing. When you talk about teasing, back combing, it's the same and not the same. So okay. So we have sections of hair here, but we want to split this, and we're going to work in the smaller sections. And honestly, you are going to take your time doing this in smaller sections. I'm going to try not to move as fast as I move, just because. Right. It's okay if it's a little bit longer because you're going to break that section up. Alright, so I'm using root lifting spray. Probably could have done this already, let it kind of dry. So when you're teasing, I like to use this finer comb because I'm already sectioning with it to start, this rat tail comb. And you're motioning, it's like you're scooping like a C. C, this is basically what you're doing. It's in your wrist, it's like working on those cells. But however you, I don't know how to explain this because you can do it backward and forward because it's bad combing. But however you decide to scoop your C, it's fine. Now, elevation matters, the angle, depending on what you're doing. Obviously, if you're building hair to sit higher, you want to start in the top of the head and build it up. I'm just kind of creating some perimeter volume in this. This is already pretty long hair. I'm not doing too much. And then because of the spaces that I created, that's all I'm really doing is creating more volume. And with this teasing, it's going to add more layering and make some of the hair look a little shorter or choppier, which is okay for what I'm using it for. You can also go back in your wig and clean it up, blah, blah, blah. Alright, so you can start with this comb, or I also like to use the boar bristle brush just because it kind of helps pull the hairs as the glue gets tacky. And you want to kind of scoop in. Probably can't see that, but you're just scooping in. You should get you should have some kind of creative little matting as such. I like to say don't overdo it on the spray because this is like building up. That section isn't too much. I'm just building up. I like to use this to come in if I need to break the section up or to help smooth. It also creates a little bit of frizz if needed. It helps to pack the hair in a little bit better. So this rat tail comb is very useful for a lot of the packing in or cleaning up, okay? So basically, depending on the shape of what you're doing, you're just going to keep repeating this process. I would say do a little, go a little, and then come back, because ultimately all these broken up sections, you're going to clean up that base. You're going to clean up your base tease, and that's going to give you basically give you an idea how much more work you need. You don't have to keep beating and beating a section over and over and over again. Now you can also feel with your fingers at the section that you just teased previously is still wet. This is a human hair blend, so I don't like to over spray it because it can wash it out, and it also, when you over pack it with hairspray, it just makes it harder if you want it harder for you to clean it out later, okay? So basically what I just did is I picked up that previous section that I teased, and I kind of mirrored them together after I got my starting tease, so it created this nice full new little section. And I have a tease there, okay? It's still a little sticky, so I'm not going to put a little more on, or hairspray on yet. And again, you're just taking a thin section of the hair. You can do bigger sections if you want when you're comfortable in that. You can do, like, when you get your flow or your rhythm down, then just do. You know, I can't tell you what to do once you understand the basics, right? You should understand the basics. So, that's lip. So, I'm using this root lifting spray. You can put texture, dry shampoo, texturizing spray. Um, Again, this is to help you build up that tease. And I leave that perimeter out so that when it comes to cleaning up or helping to blend everything, you have something to work with. Because not all the time do you need to tease the perimeter of the wig. Like, I understand if you're doing a what is called a rooted wig or a heart front wig that's not a lace front, that's great. But you have a lace front, so you don't want to. You already have an illusion of a hairline there. You just want to clean that up, right? Okay. Now, depending on your pace, you should have this nice tease section. Now, you see how that has that lift in it? That's what you're creating. So whether you have it lifted here and you're teasing, and you have that tease, then it'll lift higher. If you're trying to tease it so it sticks all the way up, then you got to tease higher. Okay? You're in your hair. You basically are building up your tease this way. And you're coming up and smoothing and spraying. So if you want it higher, you need to start at the top with getting your tease up, and you're going to pull your tease your hair up to your top tease. I'm just creating a lift from the base. So we're going that way. I'm repeating myself because repetition is key, because y'all don't ever remember anything, anybody ever. So, and if you're doing a cosplay wig, then yeah, you want shellac and all this other stuff, or you're doing something with fine details, you want to use that so that it holds the work that you've done. But to build up the base, you don't need to start. I need to clean this. No, but to build up the base, you don't need to spray it that heavy. Okay, so this is a side piece, a piece that's going to be connected because it's of how it shapes. So I am going to tease that at that angle because when I pull the perimeter in, if it's all teased out this way, this is never going to lay correctly. So I do want to try and do, I like to try and do both sides, to do it cleanly around, try and get a nice now you can use it. If you have your blow dryer and plug it in your blow dryer, you can heat it and dry and do this process. You dry it, move on to the next section. You do want to let your hairspray sections dry and get them dry. in between. So you're just going to keep repeating this no matter, again, like if you wanted more lift, I'll do more, there'll be more teasing in this section happening. Using your dry shampoo, you can come through the roots, you can spray that, your texturizing spray, your root spray, your hairspray, you can come through here so it's already kind of has the build up. I personally like when I use drag wigs or I'm like actively not using human hair wigs, I like to and prefer using my old wigs to tease up because it already has kind of that hairspray product build up. It's already been washed a time or two, so it has that natural buildup, so it's easier to work with. And again, yes, I do wash and clean my drag wigs. I sweat. Okay. So again, I'll use the texturizing spray. So this is dry shampoo. You don't need that much, but do what you do. Your resources, your use of time, not mine. So there's that. So let's say you use that and then you just want to hit some hairspray, right? That's what some hairspray this section is without. So boom. Same difference. The dry shampoo builds up. Now, you still have to, in most instances, lock this in. So whether you hit it with a finishing spray, the got to be glued, whatever your glue is, that's or your hairspray. Hell, if you're using sprays, that's what it is. So that's your dry shampoo, dry texture result, okay? Then I have hairspray on this bit. And you're not like jabbing the hair and you're just letting the hair, you're not fighting with the hair, you're letting it flow in naturally. So whatever gets as texture and is caught in the comb is what's caught in the comb. You're able to see and work and manipulate the hair as needed when you get your bases going. When you're building your base tees, it's okay. It's going to look, as you're learning your process and learning how to move and work in your sections. You have a ton of little sections that you marry. All of this, you're basically going to get married together. And see, you're not worried about that because we have this section here to help blend. Okay? So now look. So this section or these sections have all been teased. So you want to clean this section up, right? Again, this is you trusting your process and you following your process. Take your time. It is mundane, but and I did this way to show you guys how you can build this up. So, boom. You can build this up in this manner. And depending, let's say you like it. See how you just come through the end, you come out. You don't have to cut it out, just come at your ends. So I'm going horizontal, you can go vertical, you can go diagonals, depending on the shaping. If you need to have an idea of styling what you want to do. So you have to understand your shaping and what you want to do. That's where you get into placements, and it's much more than just teasing the wig. So this is just 101. This is the base tease. However you marry it, however you do it. That process, and I probably showed you this very fast. But yeah, now I'm not going to say cheap because teasing is so much more than that. Now I'm only padding this, I'm not overfilling it with hairspray because I have some of that, and the difference is I get to come back and I comb this starting at that mad where I matted it or teased it from the top. Put conditioner on this, or let the conditioner sit before you comb through, detangler. But again, this is a take your time process, and this is just now remember, the more hairspray, the more layers that you put in here, it just makes it harder. It's not that it can't be undone, but it just makes it harder if you are someone that's on a budget and you don't have a lot of wig. It's one thing if you're just, that's what it's like, if you're just giving a base tease, cool. See, all this comes through. And I'm just coming up. I'm not like digging in. I'm just pulling back out. It's important if you do it that you understand what you're doing, because teasing is going to take some time. So now, two things happen for me with drag wigs. So you've taken this tease out, you've already teased it, you've built up kind of like a more natural root in here. Sometimes you're not even going to want to pull this out. You see how these sections separated and I can comb through it still? This matters. Now if you're just using some synthetic wigs and you're like, I don't care about these wigs, you're going to heavy hairspray them, but make sure that you let each layer or each bit of work completely dry. Now this root will have some hairspray, some of the dry shampoo, and I can still work with that. I can work with that. I don't know if you can, but I can still work with that because it's proportionate and it'll be much more of a natural looking volume than just teased up. So ta-da! So there's that. And you just repeat that. Repeat that and repeat that and repeat that. So let's say you wanted to do a swoop, not a swoop bang, but you wanted your bang to lift, and you wanted a flip or fall feather bang, I guess I should say. Um, the section of your bang, you're gonna have to tease that base up. So you now have to find your bang area, and you have to create your base and a perimeter. You have to build up that tease around that. And you have to be able to marry it, and you want to keep it clean as you go, as clean as you can, but you'll learn your process. I'm going to keep saying this, you'll learn your process. It's going to look crazy as fuck to you at first, but the more you do it and the more you take your time, taking your time is going to get you to where you need to be quicker than at it and just rushing and being sloppy. You're going to be happier with your results if you take your time while you're doing this. So boom, teasing, 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 teasing and smoothing, you'll start to understand as you go into. That's where you get into these brushes too. If you're, one side could be helping to tease and smooth, because in the roots, some people like to pat the root down, especially in the back where the wig is, to make it look more, more or less not like a wig cap or a high-cut wig cap. This is lace front, so I'm not focused on that. I got a whole different mission over here. But yeah, depending on the section, if your angles, then you want to kind of slice at that angle to help rotate the hair in that design, so you're not overly fighting with it. The more that you can do with your base teasing to help with your end result and understanding what your end result is, the easier it is. And then basically, once you get to the areas that you want, you just kind of want a hairspray smoothing brush up to these front perimeter pieces to get them into how you want and lay them. And it's very much that simple. I am not doing that out for you, because your focus, if anybody's here for a one-on-one, that means your focus is understanding teasing. So yes, go for the big teased out. The thing you want to do is focus on making sure you get this base tease. Give your work, maybe I would say give yourself, working with an inch, you get yourself built up an inch of tease, and then maybe even see how you feel with 2 to 3 inches, and build that up. See how that works for you. I would say that try that, take that all the way around the wig, marry it. If you're somebody that's on a budget, work on detangling. That means you got to undo the work. You got to start where you teased and work that out, basically at the ends of the hair. Work your way up, just like detangling. But anyways, that is your tutorial for today. I'm going to go check my blonde wig. I will look now and see if there are any questions. Let's see. Hi, hello, hello. All right, thank you guys for watching. That is all that I have for right now. I'm gonna go look up the wig now.